Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Noodle film review. Tonight we're looking at an absolute cult classic, and we're looking at The Last Temptation of Toxie, which is The Toxic Avenger Part 3. And you're thinking, well, why haven't you done 1 and 2, Joff? It's simply because I've just watched those with the lad and I don't want to go back and rewatch them. So I'm jumping straight into number 3. Now, if you don't know the sort of Toxic Avenger story, it's about this film at the beginning gives you like a little bit of a preview of what's happened before, like in Toxie 1, where we see Melvin as the nerd and he gets bullied and he falls out of a window, falls in a vat of toxic and becomes a superhero, the Toxic Avenger. And we also see little clips in 2 when he goes off to, I think, Japan to meet his father. So we see little clips of that, and then we go into the new film where we sort of, I like the beginning because it's all in like this old sort of video rental shop, which is really cool, and it takes me right back every time I see that. I think that's just like the video shops I used to go to. And we see these people browsing, and it's run by this Jewish family, which is kind of strange, but it's really cool. And whilst everyone's looking through the films and the videos, VHS, they get these criminals come in to rob the place. So I thought, they're not actually there to rob the place, they're there to take away all the films, to destroy them all, because they don't want them to watch any films that are made in Traumaville. They want them to just watch these major films. So they start wrecking the joint and start killing a couple of the people in there, and then sort of like shooting all the videotapes and all this kind of stuff going on. But our hero, Toxie, comes in and they don't notice him coming in. He comes in with his weapon, which is a mop. So he comes in and there's a big sort of wooden cardboard cutout of him, and he sort of stands in front of it. Because they're so stupid, they haven't even noticed he's in there. So he stands in front of it, and they think it's a part of the cardboard cutout. And one of the crooks goes over to it and says, "Oh, look how realistic it looks." But gets a bit of a nasty surprise when it's actually our Toxie. And Toxie then sort of like starts taking them out one by one and sort of killing them. There's one point where he sort of like rips the intestines out of one of the guys, and he sort of uses it as like a skipping rope. It's quite funny. So he manages to take out these sort of bad guys, and he sort of then says, "Right, Toxic Avenger is back. I'm here." So they're all sort of like praising him and saying how great it is that he's back and all this sort of thing. And then he sort of goes on to narrate that things haven't been as good as they've been before, like in 1 and 2. And he starts telling us that he actually got turned evil. And he sort of narrates the sort of story a little bit here now and says, "Well, now I'm going to tell you what's gone on in the last few months and how I became evil." So he starts talking about how sort of depressed he was and how his mother was proud of him, and his now fiance was proud of him, his blind girlfriend. They're sort of proud of him, and we sort of see him walking the streets and doing all these sort of little good deeds. There's one where he catches this old woman cheating at cards, and he follows her up on it. And another little clip, he sees a baby won't eat his peas, so he goes to try and help that. Anyway, and he just says, "I can't even do that." So he's feeling really low. And then we join them back at their house, which is in this junkyard with all this sort of toxic barrels and all sort of junk stuff, and they live in this sort of hideous place. And he starts talking to his girlfriend, saying how bad he feels and how rubbish he is at everything. and she's going on about her eyesight, how she can't see because she had an accident and wish she could see. And they received a letter saying that she can have an operation to regain her eyesight, but it's going to cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So she had a little like, "Way fantastic," but then she was brought right back down again when she realised that there's no way that's going to happen. But then Toxie says, "Well, I will do it for you. I will get some work and I'll get this money, and we'll get it fixed." So she's all happy again, and he then goes out and gets a job from a door-to-door sort of tax revenue sort of guy, going around people's houses, and it's very, very unsuccessful. So he's not been very successful at finding jobs or getting work. And then he starts having nightmares and sort of like seeing flashbacks of his old sort of him talking to him and sort of things. He wakes up from a bad night and his girlfriend tries to calm him down by playing the accordion. Oh, it's just so mad, this film. And then we cut to our villains that were pretty much in the first one. I think they're called Apocalypse Incorporated, and it's loads of villains together in this sort of like town hall, and they're holding this meeting about all the villainry stuff that they've done and stuff like that. And the leader says there's only one thing that he wants, and that's to get the Toxic Avenger. So what? And that's all I'm going to tell you. So what evil deeds has he done, Toxic? We don't. I'm not going to tell you. I want you to watch it and find out. And are they going to sort of like get Toxic Avenger? Are they going to kill him, or are they going to turn him to evil? You need to watch it and find out. What do I think of Toxic Avenger Part 3? It's amazing. It's great fun. It's up there with the first two. It's nowhere near as gory as the first two. The first two are a lot more gory. Now, I found that out with the Toxic films. As they went along, they become a little bit less gorier, which is strange. But yeah, it's not as gory as the first two, but it's still hilarious and it's still amazing and wacky and right out there. Now the pluses of this 88 film Blu-ray transfer is it looks amazing. It looks really cool. It looks really dated. It looks like washed out, but it looks amazing and sharp at the same time. Really cool. Toxie's amazing in it. His girlfriend's still weird and wacky in it. She just looks like like a 1980s porn star, really. But she's really cool, and the villains are pretty good, and the whole film is really, really good fun. So I'm going to score the film an excellent watch and give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a 9 or a 10 out of 10 film. It's just an out popcorn movie for great fun night for if you're just there with your mates and you want to watch something that's silly, daft, with a horror sort of elements. You know I love Toxic Avenger because I bought that huge blanket from the HorrorCon. So yeah, absolutely really, really cool. 8 out of 10. Toxic Avenger Part 3. Have any of you seen the Last Temptation of Toxie? If you have, let me know down below what you thought of it. It does lack the lackluster of the first two. It does a little bit, but it's still really, really fun and cool, and it's got its own sort of cult sort of feel about it to its own, and I really like it. The film seemed to turn more sort of comedic as they went along, although they've all been comedies, but this one is a lot more I don't know, it just misses that gore, I think, that the first two have, but it's still brilliant. 8 out of 10. And that's my little review of the Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxie. So until my next video, please check out some horror channels for me. Check out the Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Designs, Fizzlewell, I Am the Ice Lord, Sarah of Horror, Cat Watches Horror Movies, Grumpy Andrew's Haunted House, and a shout out to my lad Lemon Lord. Until next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.